Hello, good morning, friends. I am Dr. Jitendra Joshi, the Global President of GIBF, Global India Business Forum, which is the leading international business chamber in India. And we are very fortunate and happy today. We are at the Embassy of Guatemala in Delhi. And with me here today, the High Commissioner of Guatemala in India. Welcome you, sir. I just want you to introduce yourself for our audience.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jitendra Joshi. It's a great pleasure to be with you, and of course to the Global India Business Forum, GIBF. I am Omar Lisandro Castañeda Solares. I am the ambassador of Guatemala to India, and I have been here in India since December 2022. I presented my credentials to Honorable President Srimati Draupadi Murmu on February 15, 2023, and since then I'm honored to represent my country, Guatemala, the land of eternal spring here in India.
Yeah, thank you and welcome you, sir. And we know this is a Central American country. This is a very beautiful country, and the Guatemala itself is a green piece of land. And that's how the name is Guatemala. This is a lot of volcanoes were there. I think more than 40 plus volcanoes were there. Quichalis is the name of your currency, which is on the name of one bird called, and it's a very beautiful bird. And Guatemala is one of the very beautiful country in Central America. We have very good relationship. India-Guatemala relationship started long back, and we have a big bilateral trade of almost $600 million. And I think a lot of potential is there. Talking more about Guatemala is that Guatemala is the country which has been under Spanish rule, and I think you got the independence on the 15th September 1821.
That's correct, yes.
And so it is so many years back you got the independence. Your agriculture is definitely doing well. Service industry, I think, sir, it is definitely one of the prominent sector in that region also. And we'll talk more about Guatemala. Before starting, sir, actually the business related talks, do you want to say something more about Guatemala so that our Indian businessmen want to know what is Guatemala all about, as you are such a senior diplomats in India, and we want to listen from you about more about Guatemala from your side.
Great, a real pleasure, and thank you again to you and to all your team for this interview. Well, first of all, Guatemala is located in the central of the American continent. It's bordering with Mexico, Honduras, and El Salvador. And we have also an adjacency zone with Belize. The borders with Belize have not been defined yet, because this will be defined after the International Court of Justice will determine our case that both countries have submitted to the International Court of Justice some years ago. Guatemala, as you said, is a country in Central America. We have gained also our independence on 15th of September of 1821. Since then, we have started our independent life. And for many colleagues and friends in India, some of them that have told me, particularly the ones that have gone to the country to visit for touristic purposes, that have been impressed with the nature of the country. We are also called, besides the land of eternal spring, we have been also called the center of the Mayan civilization, that for many years, even before Christ, the civilization flourished in Guatemala, and also in many parts of the south of Mexico and Honduras and in El Salvador. But in Guatemala, you can find several archaeological sites, and one of the most important for touristic purposes is the Mayan archaeological site of Tikal, which is located in the north of Guatemala. And in this big complex, several archaeologists and people that are interested are still discovering how impressive, smart, and advanced was the Mayan culture several years ago. And they have left an impressive heritage in our culture, in our people. We are so proud also that 60% of our population is from Mayan origin. And also we have a strong influence from the Spanish culture. That was a culture that was in Guatemala for many years, basically from 1492 to 1821. And there is what we call the syncretism, a fusion of cultures. So that's part of our richness. And we are so happy that after 1996, when our peace accords were signed, the country has improved a lot in the political arena, in the economical arena too. Several embassies have opened their locations, their embassies in Guatemala. And India precisely opened its embassy in 2010, and Guatemala did the same in 2013. So we are so happy that this relation between India and Guatemala has been strengthening with the years, and we are hoping also that in the coming years this relation will be strengthened even more than the current and very strong relation that we have nowadays.
Great, surely, sir. Actually, definitely, the India, now it is in terms of population, we are one of the largest populated country in the world, and in terms of economy, also we are now fifth largest economy in the world, and soon marching toward the third largest economy in the world. And maybe within next 2 to 3 years of time, this is going to happen. And definitely, Indian government always trying that. Each and every country needs to be connected properly, and specifically the peace is the formula. With the peace, a lot of business can grow, and we Global India Business Forum definitely supporting the vision of our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. Talking about Guatemala, sir, as you said, it is the Central American country, and the agriculture is the main business area, you can say, sugar and many other products. So what do you expect from the India as an ambassador of Guatemala in India to boost the business with the Indian businessmen? What do you think? Because you have just recently joined in India, but you know about India a lot. So we just want to know what is your expectations from Indian businessmen? What you expect from them while coming to Guatemala to do the business and maybe do the investment in Guatemala?
Certainly. With India, we have a very strong relation for many years. We established diplomatic relations 52 years ago. Several Indian delegations, particularly investors, have come to Guatemala. The most recent one was in February this year, 2024. Colleagues that were involved in for the pharmaceutical area and also in the services area, as well in some other imports and exports from India, came to Guatemala, and they were informed about the benefits that they can find in the country. First of all, the main benefit that they can find is the strategic location. We're just in the center of the Americas. We are basically very close to one of the big markets, which is the Mexican market and the United States market. So it's easy for investors if they want to establish any kind of factory or any kind of long-term investment in the country. Secondly, the Ministry of Economy of Guatemala, through its agency that is called PRONACOM, which is basically of the investments of that promotes investments in Guatemala, can easily through a very easy form that they can find in their website, they can go, they can fill it, the investors, and they can later contact the embassy here, so we can facilitate all the process in order for have them the fair visit to the country and give them any kind of assistance that they need for looking how what kind of investment can be established. Thirdly, Guatemala offers a very good climate for investment. The government of President Bernardo Arevalo is one of the governments that one of the main highlights is to strengthening its rule of law, the rule of law of the country. He has been elected and he has taken the presidency on January 14 of this year. So the conditions for any kind of investments in Guatemala are easy and are legal and totally transparent. So for any kind of investor from India who would like to go to Guatemala, certainly we can help in every process, even from the landing, from the assistance, and also for verifying all the information that they need could be also handled by the National Agency of Promotion of Investments and also by the Embassy of Guatemala here in New Delhi. The market is so big. We're talking about agriculture, as you said. We have also diversification of products. We have also Indian pharmaceuticals also that have been sold and they're part of the market of Guatemala. But also in the recent years, we have seen how also this commercial relation is growing, and it's growing even more with several important brands of India that are in the Guatemalan market. As we were talking, some of them are Bajaj, TVS,
Automobile
and other
industry,
ones. Yes,
specifically.
the industries, yes. Mahindra is present as well, and other important business partners that are present in Guatemala. And some of them also, they can see the benefit of having the location in Guatemala, because from Guatemala, some of this, I would say, let's put an example of spare parts for automobiles or cars. They can be distributed
After sales service.
exactly through the rest of the Central American countries. So that gives a lot of stability for the investors, and certainly they can find that in the country. The other aspect that I would think it's important, we have two main airports. Guatemala is a country that is about 889 square kilometers. The population is about 17 million population, but the strategic location of the country makes it attractive for investors. We have an airport in the north of Guatemala and also another airport in the center of Guatemala City, which is easy for any kind of logistical purposes. In that context, for example, I have to tell you, being very honest and of course candid with the audience, we are also finding a way to improve the air connectivity.
Okay.
It used to be a little bit easier before the pandemic of COVID-19. Right now is the best connections it could be from the United States. And from the United States, there are several direct flights from cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago. They're going direct flights from there to Guatemala City. Okay. Or the other connections could be through Europe at this moment, basically Amsterdam, Panama, Guatemala. We are approximately 1 hour and 30 minutes in a direct flight from Mexico City, which I know also there is a very important Indian community there. And we're so happy also that in the recent years also we see a lot of Indian traditions that are basically shared by the Indian community that is living in Guatemala. We have now approximately 5 Indian restaurants in Guatemala City, and the trend is going
Indians
upward.
prefer the Indian food many times.
Yes, but now also is with Guatemalan ingredients, some of them. So yes, in terms of, we were talking about agricultural products, many of the agricultural products are very affordable in Guatemala because the country has a lot of fertile soils that permits and that allows that all the produce to be fresh. But that also that shows also the potential that we have both countries in terms of strengthening our economy, and the weather is perfect almost all the year. We just have basically 2 seasons, which is the dry and the rainy season. And right now it's a little bit cold, I would say, from November to February, but not cold with snow or ice. No, it's a very manageable. So it's a good weather also that I think it for investors also, our tourism has to be considered as one of an advantage. But certainly, and as I was saying, after the opening of our embassies, the Indian embassy that is resident in Guatemala City and my embassy here in New Delhi, we have seen how this improvement in our bilateral relations is going in an upward trend.
Talking about the tourism, definitely tourism is one of the main attraction in Guatemala. And the Indians always preferred the European destinations for last many years. The popular destination again nowadays Dubai and maybe Pattaya and all. Not much people coming to that side of Latin America. And what do you want to say to our Indian many businessmen also, many tourists also, because India is also known for the big fat weddings also. Now the youngsters prefer to go for the new destinations for marriage or destination weddings. And as we saw in the November, December, January, this is the marriage period right now. And around 4.5 to 4.8 million marriages are happening in India in this particular period. So, do you want to say something to our youngsters to if they come to Guatemala for the destination wedding? So, what special attraction or what maybe Guatemala can offer for such kind of weddings where they will not just come together, they come with their family members and friends also.
Yes, no, definitely. I have to tell you, in last year I was watching in a website in Guatemala City that they have a special area for organizing Indian weddings in Guatemala. And there are several places in the country where these amazing Indian weddings can be organized. But I saw that 2 cities in Guatemala are taking like the most of the Indian weddings that people are organizing there. One of them is called Antigua Guatemala, which is a colonial city that it's one of our jewels, I would say, in the country. It has beautiful churches from the colonial times, cobblestone streets, and it's also registered as international heritage in the list of UNESCO sites. The other place that I have seen also that they are organizing beautiful Indian weddings is in a lake called Atitlan. There are 12 towns around this lake. And in the different towns, they have impressive views. It's surrounded, yes, by different volcanoes, and these towns are surrounded the lake, and the views are amazing. So some of the youngsters are also taking advantage of the beauty of these places to organize their weddings. I can share actually to you later some of the pictures that I saw about the Indian weddings in Guatemala that certainly can also be considered as a kind of a very different, innovative and exotic way also of having an Indian wedding. But I'm so happy that in the last years, as I was telling you, we have a upward trend of more tourists coming from India to Guatemala, traveling from India to Guatemala, and also many of the relatives that have been living in other countries, for example, in the United States or in Mexico or in Canada, they have been going to Guatemala recently. And which is amazing is that how Indians keep their culture intact, the beauty of the dressings, the color that they use in their weddings and in their traditions. So that makes the experience.
Long committed relationship in the marriages also.
Yes, exactly. That makes the traditions very unique, of course. Yeah. And if we talk from another perspective, also the Guatemala and India share a lot of similarities in terms of culture, in terms of family values, in terms of also the strengthening the big family relations. So that makes also the relation between both countries much better and easier.
Definitely it matters because we say always the business and culture go hand in hand.
Yeah, definitely.
And definitely that's why actually Global India Business Forum also decided, as we discussed last time, that we are keen to inaugurate India-Guatemala Business and Cultural Council soon.
No, that will be great. Yeah, that's a great idea that we can have, actually. Yes, yes. And your ambassador also in Guatemala, Ambassador Manoj Mohapatra, is working very hard also with the different communities in Guatemala to make also another associations that can strengthen,
boost the relationship.
And boost the relationship, yes, exactly.
So talking about business again, as you said, there's opportunity in the agriculture. We saw there are a lot of opportunity in the service industry also. Mm-hmm. I think whatever we studied about Guatemala, around 60-65% people also in the service industry. It's huge. So what kind of service industries actually maybe Guatemala is going to promote in the next upcoming 5 years, and how it will be useful for our Indian youngster or the startups also so that they will get attracted for such kind of
that pollutes the environment to be used in the industry of restaurants. With all the bagasse that is coming, for example, from the use of the sugar, this compostable packaging can be used, and afterwards it could be recycled, so we are not damaging the environment. And that's something that we are very grateful for with this company, Jaspaka, because when they started operations in Guatemala, they have seen the strong potential that they have with the sugar factories in the country.
And what other sectors are actually maybe Indians can think about? These are the specific, like maybe they're like IT, you said.
IT, yes, call
then
centers.
automobile spare parts, the one tourism is agro related products, food processing industry. Apart from that, what do you think? Any other sectors actually, those who are upcoming sectors in Guatemala in near future?
Well, I think, for example, considering also that it's needed to reduce the distance, what we're seeing as a potential in the coming years to continue strengthening that is the IT. And everything what is related to technology will make things a little bit easier. So we can go to another sectors that could be, for example, tourism, or we can go also to another sectors that are related with, pharma, as I told you, pharmaceuticals.
Energy, for example.
Which one?
Renewable energy.
Renewable energy, yes. Yeah, we're working with that. Renewable energy also will depend a lot on more of the demanding consumption also of the energy in Guatemala. So I think that's important that we can consider. But basically, I would say that everything, India is a leader in everything that is related with technology at this point. So in Guatemala, we are also knowing and trying to take more of the examples that India is bringing to bring more in everything that is related to technology in the country. That will certainly improve us, and we can find another ways in another
Education
sectors.
sector is another very important sector for the youngsters. Both the countries have a huge number of youngsters. Even India, there are more than 65% youth, those who are less than 28 to 30 years of age. So in terms of education institutes, maybe that if Indian students are coming to Central America, and from there they want to go for the good opportunities in Mexico, US, or down Latin America. So is there any good chances that Guatemala is thinking for the good institute from India, Indian institutes can come there and establish their portfolio there?
Yeah, we have a good collaboration, for example, with ITEC India, and also some of the students that are coming from Guatemala to India and vice versa that they go. Usually through this exchange, also Indian students can improve, for example, their Spanish, because I have seen here in India that recently, well, not recently, but it's every year that I find more people that know Spanish, and many of them have told me that they have come to Guatemala for short courses or short exchanges.
Great.
Students, yes. So they have been in the country for a while and they have improved a lot of their Spanish. So that's something also that can be, is a potential for strengthening the relation. And I'm so happy to say this because we usually, the Latin American countries, we have a day dedicated for Spanish, which is in the month of
it's a great culture,
March,
great,
yes,
yeah.
yes. And when we organize
Music, dance, and
Yes,
so
yes.
much enjoyment.
and we see a lot of students very eager to continue improving their Spanish, or they have told me many times when I go to some of the activities in the universities here in Delhi or elsewhere here in India, they tell me, for example, I have read, Ambassador, one of the main books of one of your Nobel Prize, who is Miguel Angel Asturias, and they told me, I have seen and I have read this book that is called Hombres de Maíz, which is Men of Corn. Or they told me, I have read Legends of Guatemala, and I'm so impressed. And that's something that I admire a lot in the Indian young population, because they are so eager to find other cultures, and it's so easy. And they are amazingly smart. It's interesting because, for example, when we go to some of the universities, they told me I have started studying Spanish 2 years ago. Well, when you listen to them, they are so fluent that it seems that they have been living abroad for a long time in a Spanish-speaking country. So that's very impressive, and I think we can continue building in those efforts for making our relation much better.
Because even we love dancing at different national days in El Salvador or Costa Rica and those countries. I think Cuba, even Venezuela, and me and my team also really enjoy it. It's such a nice culture where people coming close so easily. Sir, actually there are last two questions in my mind, like African Union. They have union, like European Union, and if you are going to one country, then you get the benefit for entire Europe, for example, or maybe for entire Africa. For the African Union, there are some benefits which will pass to that businessman. Mm-hmm. So, is there any provision for Guatemala, maybe as a Central American country and Latin American country together? A businessman want to come there, so they will buy base there in Guatemala. Any benefits for them in Latin American countries, or as you rightly said, even in Mexico and Caribbean countries?
Yes, well, first of all, I think the benefit that the investors can get, or someone that visits Guatemala, is the perfect location in the center of the Americas. So they can travel to the different places of Latin America easily, and the connection is good. Secondly, with regard particularly, for example, for something that could be considered like a kind of a currency for all the different countries, this is something that we're working on.
Okay.
I would say that we have an integration system in Central America that is called the Central American Integration System. It's called SICA with S. And we have had the honor to receive 2 years ago Honorable Minister Dr. Jaishankar in one of our important meetings that we have, because we have a dialogue that is called India-SICA countries. So in this mechanism that is part of the different meetings of the Central American Integration System, we have talked about the importance of improving the relations with India.
Okay.
As a group, as a Central American countries. Yeah. At this moment, we don't have, for example, like a uniform currency for all the countries in Central America. That's something that can be, that's going to be talked for some years, I think. But travel in Central America for Indians, for example, I think it's easy, and they should take advantage of that. What I believe also is important to let them know is that, for example, if you go to Guatemala, the distances are very short. If you have to go, for example, to Miami for investment, for example, or to Mexico City, or to Texas or Los Angeles, or you're going to Panama, which is, I know it's the country in Latin America and the Caribbean that hosts the largest Indian community. Yeah. As well as Trinidad and Tobago, it's famous, exactly, yeah. So all this, it's very easy if you travel to Guatemala to go to all these places. The integration system looks favorable, and I hope that, for example, in the next meetings that we have as members of the Central American Integration System, we can improve that connection with India. But certainly India is a priority for us.
So Guatemala is also famous for the sports, because we heard a lot of soccer is very famous in Guatemala.
Yes.
What do you think as the future of Guatemala in soccer and in the other sports along with India?
Well, we're looking forward also to start a cricket team in Guatemala. Yes, yeah. I mean, football is, and soccer is important. We call it football, or football in Spanish, yes. So we are also looking forward to see how we can make some plans for establishing a cricket association. Okay. Which will be good. First of all, I think also there is an eagerness for many young generations to know about this impressive sport here in India. Having in 2 matches, and I was impressed.
Oh, great.
It's just a famous.
Which is your favorite Indian player?
Oh, that's a good one. I remember the last match that I went was in Chandigarh.
Okay.
Yeah, in the stadium there.
Okay.
I remember it was the Punjabi. I don't remember specifically the team, but it was the team from Punjab that won that one. So it was very interesting. I was learning about cricket actually there, yes. But now, for example, I think there's a lot of potential to see how we can improve that connection between sports. Football is good in Guatemala as well, but as I told you, we are looking forward also to see in which other connections we can open also a good relation with India in that context, and particularly with sports and with cricket.
Because again, economy is also been involved there, because in India, the ICC cricket teams and 2020 is very famous. And I think most of the people spend a lot of money on cricket also. So the economic boost is also there.
It goes interlinked.
Interlinked, yes.
Yeah. When you have a good cricket team also, I'm sure
a lot of business will be connected to that.
Or additional elements will connect to that. Yeah. That's right.
And sir, as you know, our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, the third consecutive time now, he's been elected as a Prime Minister of India since 2014.
Yes.
And India has grown up very well in the last, definitely India was growing, but last 10, 12 years, actually, the growth is very fast. Even the Prime Minister Modi has now iconic face, a global iconic face now. And definitely his presence matters a lot in many global meetings also. What do you think, what additional role maybe our government can play for more good relationship between Central American countries, specifically for Guatemala and India for the near future?
Well, I think there are several roles that can be improved. But right now, for example, I'm so happy that in the coming year, 2025, we will have this important conclaves for bringing not only members of the government, but also entrepreneurs and some investors coming from Guatemala to India, and which is basically the India-LAC conclave.
Okay.
That's very important. I think this is a great initiative because that strengthens also in 1 week the views of learning more about each country, knowing more about the potential, knowing more also about the offers that we can give, not only from the commercial or trade perspective, but also from the cultural way. So I think this is a great initiative. With India, we are so happy from the bilateral perspective with my country to continue strengthening all the programs that are related with ITEC and with other entities here that are related with educational sectors. So many Guatemalans are coming. We're hoping also in the coming years more Indians can come to Guatemala to see not only the beauty of the country, but also to know more about the culture and also improve their Spanish skills. And I think the relation with the government of India is very strong. There are always areas for improvement, but I think that from the political perspective, it's strong. It's good. We have had last year the last Foreign Office consultations, and we're looking forward to another round of Foreign Office consultations in the coming year, 2025, bilaterally between Guatemala and India. And certainly with that, I think the potential that we have is going to be strengthened.
Great. Lastly, sir, as you are aware that last year Global India Business Forum took the initiative for India, Latin America and Caribbean country business conclave, which was the first biggest business conclave in India in Pune. And it's a great success, and I think more than 15 countries were participated. Unfortunately, Guatemala was missing from that conclave. But now, as we are planning the second business conclave of India, Latin America and Central America in the city called Hyderabad, and I think this will be the great promotion of each country also, and your presence will be highly appreciated.
Thank you.
So we want to see you there to promote Guatemala in Indian businessmen. And friends, it was really nice discussion with Excellency, and he was very open to discuss with us all the facts of business and huge potential in Guatemala for the Central American country. And the India is growing. Indian businessmen want new opportunities, and definitely Global India Business Forum and our team trying their best, specifically for the SMEs, small and medium scale businessmen. So friends, it was a really nice discussion with Excellency, and he was so open to discuss most of our interaction in terms of sports, the culture, specifically business, as we are discussing more about bilateral business increase between Guatemala and India in the near future, and Indian government is also very positive along with the government of Guatemala. And I think for the youngsters there is a huge potential, as Excellency has rightly said, the huge potential in terms of tourism, in terms of automobile industry, in terms of IT industry, and in many upcoming sectors where Indian youngsters can think about not just Central America, but they can think about the business in Mexico, business in the down Latin American countries. So overall, it was a great potential in Guatemala for an Indian businessman to go there, explore the new opportunities. And we are coming up with the India Latin America Business Conclave in Hyderabad, and there we are inviting more than 15 Latin American and Central American country. Definitely Guatemala is a very important country that we are inviting them also. And sir, we are very thankful to you, so you spare such a good time, and in such a busy schedule, as you are handling Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, and the lot of traveling is also there, but you are always energetic, what we saw you. And thank you so much for your time. Your last comment, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Jitendra. It's always an honor, a great pleasure to share with you. Thank you also for the good initiatives of the Global India Business Forum. And definitely with this kind of initiatives as the one that you lead, I think we can do a lot of good to our countries. More people will know about India, also about its rich culture, about the leadership of India in the world. And certainly, as ambassador of Guatemala to India, I'm looking forward to the conclave that we'll have in the month of March. So no worries, we will be there. I can assure you that we'll be there. And certainly with another also countries from Latin America and the Caribbean, we can exchange with our Indian colleagues the richness of our countries. But most importantly about exchange is to establish alliances for a long term in order to make more knowledgeable about the potential that we have, but also for the benefit of our people to know a little more about the importance of India and the importance also of our countries and my country, Guatemala, in the world. So thank you so much again for all the initiatives that you have.
Thank you, friends. I'm looking forward for the upcoming business conclave of Latin America and Central America. Thank you so much.